Drive-through Goonicide. I know, you say it all the time, and yet somehow it's become a reality, a drive-through Goonicide. I mean, you guys say those words all the time, right? These are words that definitely have meaning, right? It isn't 2025 and feels like we're all just making sounds with our mouths that don't actually translate into words, right? It's a drive-through Goonicide. So early last week, there came this video that started going viral on Twitter that was basically an individual that drove up in a Dodge Charger to a coffee shop called Barista Bikini Beans or something. Basically, it's one of those coffee shops where the girls all wear bikinis and serve you coffee, you know, like a Hooters or something. I think they're more common on the West Coast. The key thing, though, is that this is recorded by one of the workers at the coffee shop. She walks up to this individual who pulls up in this car and very clearly notes the fact that this dude isn't wearing any pants.
Hi, how are you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir, you need to leave. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Call 911.
We learned two things from this video very quickly, and that is the fact that because this woman already has her phone out, clearly she's like aware of this individual. She recognizes not only him, but probably his car pulling around the corner, and realizes that this probably isn't the first time that this dude has pulled up gooning to a coffee shop. A drive-through gooning. I cannot believe these are real words. As you see in the video, she confronts the man, going, "What are you doing? You can't be doing that. I'm gonna call the cops," at which point his face goes from the main character in Squid Games 1 to the main character in Squid Games 2, and then immediately drives off, realizing that he has been caught in his, you know, drive-through gooning.
It ain't easy being a goon.
Now seems like a good time to provide a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Into the AM. You know what happens when you pull up to a drive-thru without pants? People think you don't have a basic wardrobe, but don't worry. By using my link in the description at Into the AM, you guys can pick up their new basic collection. Basic tees, basic pants, basic accessories to fill your wardrobe with stuff that looks great, feels great, and is created by creatives like me. I'm currently wearing the skull tee. Most of the design's actually on the back of this shirt. But you don't need to get anything quite this fancy. You should start with the basics. Pick up some long sleeve t-shirts, some pants, some hoodies. Get whatever you want from Into the AM and get it with an extra 10% off by using my link in the description. Never be caught in a gooning sesh without pants again. Thank you so much, Into the AM. Now, I think we can all agree that gooning in the drive-thru is absolute freak behavior, but I'm not gonna start tossing stones. When I first heard of the Grimace Shake, I pulled up to McDonald's drive-thru with no pants. I'm gonna be honest, I thought the Grimace Shake was gonna be me pulling up to the drive-thru and seeing two giant purple cheeks clapping in the drive-thru window. It turns out it was a milkshake or something. But despite the fact that the story is objectively kind of hilarious up to this point, I actually didn't hear about it until several days after this incident occurred and this video was posted online, because the really interesting thing, or I guess maybe not so interesting thing about the story, isn't the fact that this individual was caught gooning in a drive-thru. It's the fact that before anybody had even really heard of this story going viral on the internet, bro offed himself the next day. In this screenshot taken from what looks like Facebook that I'm grabbing from the article on knowyourmeme.com, somebody had reached out, so it's like the sister of the girl who recorded the guy working at the store. So she was trying to reach out to the guy's wife/family to inform them that this dude had been gooning in their drive-thru and basically letting them know how much of a sexual deviant he was, harassing these women at work. And the guy's wife had informed him that the following day he had shot himself following this entire recording thing, seemingly knowing that it was going to get posted online and ruin his image or whatever. The story just got crazy. There is probably something to be said about the court of public opinions on the internet. To be ridiculed online is a fate worse than death, clearly to some individuals. One person on Twitter, whose tweet I can't find for some reason, basically stated that if before the date of cameras and the internet to be ridiculed in such a manner, this person may not have taken his own life without the worry of his public perception being ruined after this, which on one hand, yeah, I guess is true. I'm not going to sit here and say the internet was the greatest thing for the mental stability of mankind whatsoever, but if we're going to jump back to before there were cameras or anything, you could also make the argument that this guy probably could have gone around gooning in drive-thrus and harassing women at work forever. He would have been like Jack the Ripper. The guy never would have been caught, if we're going to make that argument. Despite the sad nature of an individual taking his own life, the internet is relentless in making fun of the fact that the first meme of 2025 happens to be a drive-through Goonicide. There are people making images of the Dodge Challenger, calling it the Goonmobile. People are posting images of the Dodge Challenger with captions like, "Man, I just found the best video that I used to watch on Pornhub back when I was 14," and stupid stuff like that. One individual posted a Google Maps destination of him traveling from Houston to the location of the Bikini coffee shop, saying, "I'm coming in more ways than one, hashtag Goonicide." That is crazy. You know, at first I felt like a bad person looking at everybody making these edits of a dude who had passed away after doing something embarrassing, worrying about the ridicule that he would get online. I mean, to face mask this dude's face over a Fortnite skin just feels disrespectful. That was until I started seeing edits of people doing the Vin Diesel and Paul Walker interlude at the end of Fast and the Furious with the Goonicide guy. I might be going to hell for laughing for it, but you are definitely going down with me.
Have you been here before? Yeah. Sir, unacceptable. You need to leave. You need to leave. Call 911.
There is this relatively well-known clip from an episode of Family Guy where the entire family is trapped in their safe room and the sprinklers have gone off and they're about to drown, and in the moment Peter decides that it's time that he shares something that he won't need to worry about the repercussions of since they're gonna die anyway, and he tells everybody that he did not like the first Godfather movie. To which the entire family is met with disbelief, like, "What? It's one of the greatest movies ever. Why would you think such a thing, Peter?" To which he states, "It insists upon itself." Everybody's like, "What are you saying? It insists upon itself? What does that even mean, dude?" This quote from Family Guy with "it insists upon itself" as a level of criticism against a piece of media has been something that has been shared on the internet. It's not like the biggest meme in the world or anything, but most people know if you say the phrase "it insists upon itself," you're quoting that line from Family Guy. At least I thought that's what it was, but evidently people have been using this as legitimate criticism for pieces of media that are like, I don't know, self-reflective or speak to a point that they themselves are making. I don't even really know. My media literacy is that of like a 12th grader. I still don't know why the curtains are blue. On Twitter just a few days ago, one individual tweets out, "Peter Griffin saying it insists upon itself is one of the most succinct and universally applicable critiques you can leverage when discussing art plus media, and I'm being so serious." I disagree. I feel like the whole point was that Peter was trying to say that the first Godfather movie was a bad film, so it doesn't really matter what he says after that point. He's clearly mistaken. Sadly, the audience of people who are watching video essays about long-forgotten pieces of media that would use a critique like "it insists upon itself" are probably never going to be met with any sort of actual concrete proof as to what that means. Oh wait, Seth MacFarlane, the guy who created Family Guy, decided to respond to the fact that this clip was going viral yet again, almost 2 decades afterwards, stating, "Since this has been trending, here's a fun fact. It insists upon itself" was a criticism that my college film history professor used to explain why he didn't think that The Sound of Music was a great film. First-rate teacher, but I never really quite followed that one. Which is really interesting that this joke in an episode of Family Guy from 15 years later gets an explanation that still doesn't explain what "it insists upon itself" even means. From one comment on the Family Guy subreddit, the top voted one states, "When you watch a movie and you get the metaphor or analogy that it's trying to make, but it keeps hammering on over and over. Whenever you say, 'Dude, I get it, now get on with the movie,' is when a movie insists upon itself." Interesting. So it's like the Fast and the Furious movie, where like you get that they're fast and they're furious and then they make 10 more movies? Is that insisting upon itself? What about when SumitoMedia makes a video and then tells you to subscribe at the end of it, and then he makes over 400 more videos all telling you to subscribe at the end of it? Am I insisting upon myself? Either way, I'm happy that we now have some closure. Thank you so much for making it to the end of yet another video. I have to go pick up my Starbucks drive-thru while wearing a G-string. A big thank you to the patron scrolling in the back, and remember to pick up something from Into the AM with my link in the description for an extra 10% off. I will catch you guys on Monday, probably. Shpisu.